Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service has signed a cooperation pact with France to support its transition into the Nigeria Revenue Service, NIS, in 2026. This agreement links Nigeria with France's Advanced Tax Authority, focusing on digital upgrades, capacity development, and cross-border enforcement. According to FIRS, the collaboration focuses on GFX digital transformation, workforce and capacity development, international taxation, and information exchange and cross-border enforcement. This agreement ties into Nigeria's broader tax reforms and the push for a unified revenue system. Key uncertainties relate to implementation, institutional capacity, data sovereignty concerns, and how effectively the partnership can address long-standing structural challenges. However, FIRS says the partnership will help both countries navigate issues such as AI, cybersecurity, and shifting global tax rules. Joining us now to discuss the implications of this development is the Executive Director at Center for African Policy, Research and Advisory, Dr. Segun Adebayo. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having
Dr.
me.
Adebayo.
Good morning.
So this sounds like a lot of English. Please break it down. Break it down to the average person. What does this mean? Especially because we see that, or we know that there's a new, an evolution in our fiscal, our taxation. By January 2026, we expect updates. So what does this new announcement mean for us?
Yeah, I think first we need to, I made a statement at the National Assembly quite recently. I said that there are certain data that you must be very careful with when you are having your international collaborations. Because by the time you begin signing MOUs with sovereign states, every sovereign state has its own interests, and they pursue their interests, not yours. When they come to the table, they are not coming to the table to discuss how your interest will be served. It might look like your interest will be served, but eventually it's their interest that's going to be served. If I have access to your entire financial dealings, everything you do with your money, everywhere you go, and bear in mind, this current tax regime that we're going into is an identity-based tax system. It's not just, oh, we're going to be taking the percentage of your money. No, your identity is following it. So you're having a full identity-based taxation system, and then you're going into collaboration with another sovereign state. That is giving me unfettered access to your financial dealings, where you go to, everything you do. And that is sovereign data. No foreign power hands over their sovereign data to another sovereign power in the name of an MOU or collaboration, whatever you want to call it. And these are the concerns that we have had right from inception on this tax conversation. We looked at from 2024, where a certain foreign national met with Mr. President and then said that we should have an identity-based tax system, and he began working very actively towards it. He started consulting for the government in that regard. We can see him several times meeting with our own Taiwo Oyedele, who's been working on our tax systems. And I mean, right from then till now, look at the National Assembly. Many of the bills that have been quoted at the National Assembly have been on identity, having an identity management forum, identity management commission, and all of that. And you're looking at a merger between the BVN, the NIN, everything is headed towards somewhere. And at the end of it all, 1 month to implementation, we see that the government begins to sign an MOU with another sovereign state. It calls for concern. Data sovereignty has been one of our biggest concerns in this tax conversation. I talked about it 9 months ago at both the National Assembly, at the House of Assembly, there was a National Youth Dialogue on Tax Reforms organized by Project Sprint and the Youth in Parliament Committee. I was there, I raised these issues. But here we are, 1 month to go, we're signing an MOU. We have tech firms in this country that are actually the toast of the continent. Even our own remitter. We have remitter, we have Flutterwave, we have InterSwitch, we have Paystack, we have several tech firms, Bamboo. Many of them are the biggest on the continent. Why shouldn't we do what the President of America did very recently, where he sat down with all the heads of tech, with all the tech giants in his country, and sat with them and looked at how he could develop his tech ecosystem with their input, financial and infrastructural input. He sat with them at a dinner. Why don't we have similar? Why don't we have a situation where we bring all of them together? One thing that they all have in common is that they are Nigerians, and they will be patriotic to Nigeria. Just like we have our very own Dangote today, who's refining fuel for us. Why do we have to go?
The government is talking about capacity. They said France has an advanced tax authority, and they're also talking about issues of capacity development. Do we have, I mean, if you look at a country like France, they have the global best practices when it comes to issues like taxation. So from the government's perspective, they're seeing it as more of a collaborative effort, that we have quite a lot to gain by collaborating. Do the Nigerian companies that you mentioned, do they have the capacity?
Let's even not look at the private companies. Let's look at the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, NIBS. NIBS is like the Mecca in Africa when it comes to interbank settlement, switching money. Almost every African country is sending a delegation to NIBS every now and then to learn from us. We are the giants in Africa when it comes to tech. So when it comes to capacity, I mean, Nigeria has, if you go to other African countries and you try to, make payments and all of that, and you listen to their financial rules, it will sound strange to you, because here in Nigeria, we're having it very easy and smooth because we have technological capacity. We've had, I mean, look around the world, you see Nigerians blazing the trail in tech. So if it comes to capacity, let's even start from NIBS. NIBS is a backbone in the rise of many fintechs today, having them do fantastically well and all of that. Let us build from there. Let us build from there. Mr. President had a meeting yesterday with the
Self-communication and is it Boss Tijani?
Yes, just yesterday, where I was talking about our youths being, the future of the country. Yeah. Let's grow from there. Let's take the conversation from there. Let us have something indigenous to Nigeria, something that a nationalist can look and be proud to say, this thing is from Nigeria. We're not against the tax reforms. We just want it to be fully indigenous. Let us have our data to ourselves. Why is France? I mean, France has been in the news for all sorts in the Sahel region. They've been in the news for all sorts in West Africa. Why? And I think it's just right for any sane thinking person at this time to raise an eyebrow to this MOU that FIRS is signing with France.
I just want to ask very quickly, has this MOU been made public to Nigerians? Do you have any idea if it's been made public
details
yet?
The details.
That's one. Yes, that's one question. Secondly, are you sure that we're not just in any way overreaching, in the sense that this MOU could be as a form of benefits to Nigerians as regards us being afraid? I do understand that sovereignty is at stake here in terms of data, but can you highlight what the major risks currently are should Nigeria go ahead with this MOU? And the MOU in question, can we rightly say that it is, scary to every Nigerian, especially those in the fintech space or the tech space?
Okay, to answer your question, first, let us look at Data Protection Act and what is covered as sensitive data at the moment. Currently, your financial record is not covered as sensitive data. Neither is your GPS record covered as sensitive data. Yeah, your biometrics is covered, your personal information, but these two very important details are not covered.
Your location and your money.
Yes, and your money. Good. So, if your location and your money is not covered as sensitive data currently, and this piece of information is being passed to another country, a whole intelligence software can be built on that.
To monitor where I'm going to, Since
Monitor who,
you can
where,
check
how,
how much
when.
I spent over the
Yes.
period of time, where I spent them,
Yes.
and also give lead to where I frequently go to regularly.
Exactly.
And there's room for abuse beyond terrorism and, you know, anti...
So these are the concerns. I mean, first of all, your data is your sovereign asset.
Absolutely.
And every federal government should think about protecting her citizens in its entirety. And there is no amount of benefit that you want to talk to me about that will necessitate transferring or rather signing an MOU that puts your citizens at risk at this level. You know, I met with Senator Ned. Senator Ned was pushing for a Data Protection Act earlier this year, and I think in March, and I met with him to introduce to his bill 2 paragraphs, a couple of paragraphs, more than 2 actually, his amendment that was going to lead to the protection of Nigerians in this regard. And, you know, he entertained it, and we're planning towards the public hearing for that particular bill because it had scaled second reading. And in the process of preparing for second reading, which was going to protect us, because I was advocating for you know, first of all, amending our Data Protection Act to protect our data, you know, sovereignty, to ensure that foreign nationals or foreign organizations are properly profiled, domesticated in Nigeria before national records, and also to protect our data like the ones I just mentioned. These were the things I was proposing to add to it. But in the process, the tax bills were already passed. That means we're late. And then, and of course, the conversations have snowballed until now. If this MOU was not signed yesterday, perhaps, you know, I would have been quiet. But now it's been signed. And it's validating the concerns we had about data sovereignty. So the conversation has to begin.
Is the Minister of Digital Economy not aware of this?
I was about to ask that. You know,
Because he just launched something now, the 3MTT or something.
That in a world where data protection is a big deal, it's your identity.
It's on the front burner.
You know, it's on the front burner. Who is it that the government was not properly informed about the effects that you've mentioned?
Yes. So I think that, you know, when we say the federal government, there are several moving parts at the same time. You know, FIRS is doing theirs, Minister of Digital Economy is doing theirs, everybody's doing theirs. But you see, this is where we now need to be better policed in our area of national sovereignty. It's a conversation, there needs to be a layer. We shouldn't just have agencies and ministries and everything just, you know, crossing the international boundaries, you know, without a proper consultation going on. Just due process. Just yesterday, you could hear that the president was, you know, happy and encouraging our youths, these are the capacity, this, you know, in the area of technology. Most of the guys who are currently controlling the tech space in Nigeria, most of them are less than 50. Most of them are in the range of 40s. They are youths, young guys. Look at what our, in fact, negatively, our Yahoo boys are doing. Let us even say we take them, reform them, and then put them...
lab.
Yes. Let them make use. One thing is they have the skills, they have the knowledge. These guys are hacking into anything, doing all sorts. That shows you the potentials that we have, our youths have in this country. Why don't we look at harnessing it?
Dr. Adebayo, just yesterday we saw the proposed budget for 2026, and more than 70% of the chunk of that budget is going to go into debt servicing. That means we have a revenue problem because we still keep borrowing. The federal government is owing over 2,000 contractors who are protesting every other day at the Ministry of Finance. Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio remains between 6 to 10%. That's way below the African average. So we have, we've been lax with our tax system, and the government needs more money. So wouldn't this MOU and the things we might learn from them to make our tax system more effective be beneficial towards, you know, increasing our tax to GDP ratio?
I think that...
or are there other ways we could do it?
I think that thinking of raising money through this tax system is just one way to look at solving a problem. There are many other ways that we can solve problems than, you know, drilling deep in our taxation system. While that is good for us to have proper tax reforms, excellent. First of all, we are not against that. We are saying that we can do it at home. We have all the technology at home to get it right within. We believe in ourselves. We believe in Nigeria. We believe in the capacity of our young people, of our technological systems. We can do it at home, 1. 2, solving our income problem through taxation is not the best. We have many other ways. We have poorly mined minerals. We have, the whole mining sector right now is almost a mystery. Almost a mystery. You see all sorts when you go on the internet. Who is mining what? Is it really the government that is mining or other people are mining? Look at the scramble for rare earth metals currently globally. Since President Trump announced his Project Stargate, where he's planning to build $500 billion worth of data center infrastructure. That's just saying that I'm going to be the biggest customer for rare earth metals.
And the Chinese too need rare metals for their Belt and Road initiative.
Yes. So now these things are in abundance in Nigeria. Why don't we become the world supplier? Almost like this. Why don't we look in that direction, maximize our output in those regions, have it better driven by the right policies, and then we do good business with the rest of the world.
Rather than squeezing 100 million plus multidimensionally poor Nigerians.
The palpitations, we can already
water
hear
out of stone.
In smaller circles as well as bigger circles about the palpitations people are experiencing as they count down to January, because it feels like they're not quite sure what to expect. But what would you say is your ask from the government? The MOU has been signed already. What would you say is your ask, and how can Nigerians better prepare themselves for what might be?
My first ask is that the MOU be truncated. That's my first ask. I'll be very direct. And we should then develop a national policy to guide how we interact with the international world. That's my first ask. I'm going to shoot wide. That's first.
Across board.
Across board. We need to have a proper policy. No ministry, no parastatal or agency should just knock on the front door of any country and then because it's looking good, they can, go ahead and do it. No, we should have a proper policy to guide our sovereignty as a nation, especially when there are geopolitical tensions at this time globally. That's my first ask. So that should be truncated, 1. Secondly, like I said, the president or the agencies responsible should have a stakeholder engagement. What are their requirements? Let us bring together our technological heads in this country. We have pull them together. We have quite a lot of them. If you bring Remita, you bring Flutterwave, you bring Paystack, you bring even the OPs and the rest of them who are here in the country, sit with them. Let's look at what is required. Even our Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, NIBS, let's look at it. What do we want to do? And then we own our technology. Let it be indigenous to us, just like NIBS currently is.
Yeah.
Let us have something indigenous to this country. And let us look at the end-to-end execution of our tax reforms to be sure that our data remains a sovereign asset of this country. They are not too much to ask. We are not saying truncate the whole tax reforms. We are saying truncate that MOU with France right now. Let's come home, sit with ourselves, look at what we want to do. We're a sovereign state. We're a nation. Let's look at what we want to do and solve it ourselves. Even if you want to learn, you can learn without signing an MOU.
Are we crying wolf? Because the MOU, Nigeria signed thousands of MOUs in the past. The MOU is just on paper.
And look at where it's gotten us.
And there was an MOU that was recently signed by Bello Matawalle, the Minister of State for Defense in Saudi Arabia a few days ago. So it's MOU on paper, but we're yet to reach the implementation phase. So is there still cause for alarm?
So that's why policy researchers can actually look into the future. They look at the data, look at where things like this have been implemented. You don't even need to look so far.
So it's as dangerous as implementation? Just
Oh yes,
the signing of the
don't
MOU.
even look so far. I mean, Nigeria is sandwiched by French, colonized nations. Just look to your left, to your right, to your north. Look around you. You have all your answers. You know.
There's a lot to talk about, but I'm sure this conversation has started, and I mean, you started it. I'm sure you also have others who think the same way. But let's hope and see that the federal government will definitely respond to these statements you've made. Possibly, if possible, they should be able to share that MOU.
And it's also, it's not just Dr. Adebayo, speaking the minds of millions of
and I'm sure some tech experts are also wondering what was signed, because one thing we usually see at times is, before you know it, in January, we'll start seeing new policies come out.
And like they say, the devil is in the detail.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
When then they tell you, oh, this was already signed with, then you wonder. So it's very key. So if you're in the tech space, for those who are the tech giants, you might also want to make a request of this MOU. And I think this is also a call to the federal government to do as much as possible. Talking about the Oga at the top in the FIRS, now going to be the NIRS from January 1st, Mr. Zach Adiliji, to also ensure that we have clarity on what this MOU really is. But thanks for opening up and sharing the insight into this. It's a good one. It's a good one. Well, that's not all we have for you. Stay with us. We'll go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring to you breakfast headlines and then take a look at the front pages of the newspapers, where you can start calling in and sharing your thoughts on some of the big stories on the front pages. Stay with us.